Welcome back to our learning of Mishnah Berurah. Last time we talked about the Hakdama, the introduction, where Mishnah Berurah gives us this beautiful intention to imagine and feel our learning as an opportunity to feed our souls. So we're jumping to Siman Reish Samech, which is 260, and we're going to be looking at Dinei Achnasat Shabbat, so the laws around welcoming Shabbat into our lives. Right away, Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaber, says that it's a mitzvah lirchotz. It's a mitzvah to wash ourselves. And Ramah comments, the Ashkenazi posek, Rav Moshe Israelis comments, Kol gufo, we're supposed to do this on our whole body, so wash our whole body. The Torah adds to this that in a situation where you don't have the ability to wash your whole body, so that might be, very unfamiliar to us today, but was certainly something historically, that we should, very, very least, the bare minimum of washing before Shabbat should be washing our face, hands, and our feet with warm water, with hot water. And the text goes on to explain that it's a mitzvah to wash our heads and to cut our nails, really prepare ourselves for Shabbat and have as much just a feeling of refreshment and being cared for as we prepare. The Ramah goes in at length about how we're supposed to cut our nails. There's, discussion about how nails should be cut, and Mishnah Berurah actually comments that the Arizal, who, certainly was very much a part of Kabbalistic thought, was not so machmir on how you actually had to do it. So it's interesting that the Mishnah Berurah asserts being so medactic, being so particular about this isn't necessarily what this mitzvah is about, but rather what he focuses on, what Mishnah Berurah focuses on, is the fact that it's a mitzvah of kavod Shabbos. That this is lichvod Shabbat, kavod Shabbat is really what the mitzvah is that we're talking about. He says that anyone who fulfills this mitzvah, it's not necessarily something where you're, if you don't do it, you'll be punished. It's really like beautifying and glorifying our experience of Shabbat. So this is something that isn't like a make sure you do this, but rather how can we feel more connected and more deeply a part of this experience. So he gives us, I think, some really strong language at one point. We need to be really careful that when we're getting ready for Shabbat, doing all these preparations, washing, brushing our hair, cutting our nail, all the things, that we need to be careful that we don't end up accidentally running into Shabbat with the things that we're doing and somehow end up transgressing Shabbat because we didn't realize it was Shabbat. And he says that there's harbe nichshalim b'zeh b'yamei hachoref k'shayamim k'tzarim sheyoshvim kim'at ad shechashecha. There's really especially big obstacles for us when it's wintertime. That when the days are shorter and leading up to Shabbat we have less time. He's acknowledging the tough reality we all know, that it can be a rush to bring in Shabbos. And Shabbos is starting in the 4s or the 3, whatever it is. It feels very much like a rush. And what he's getting at is that the Kavod HaShabbat here is internalizing the ability to pause and to breathe, to plan, and to recognize that Shabbat is a day that is given to us by God to relax and be together and to pray and to eat and enjoy. It's a time of enjoyment. And it's also a time that we need to ease ourselves into, because that's not how the rest of our week always is. I would offer, I think for me, it's definitely hard, if you imagine people are working or doing childcare or cooking or whatever it is. I very much relate to trying to use up every minute and lighting in the 18 minutes and, really pushing it, because I think that's normal. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking realistically, I need that time, I get you and I hear you. And I also accept the Mishnah Berurah Chavetz Chaim's challenge that my experience of Shabbat would be enhanced by giving myself a little bit of leeway, as I'm coming in as a plane landing, that I just need to go a little bit slower. So what would it look like for me? Today's Thursday. What would it look like for me? And I'm saying this to myself very practically, to make it a little bit smoother of a landing into Shabbat tomorrow. Maybe having family who's present, if you have family living with you, light candles together, or, really shower earlier than usual. Put up the urn earlier, than maybe we were used to doing, just so that Shabbat feels like not an abrupt transition, but a soft handoff or landing into this beautiful day that Hashem has given us to observe together. So my tefillah is, as we begin to celebrate Shabbat together and as we continue to deepen our learning, that we feel again that nourishment, but the nourishment of making our lives better through the mitzvot. That, I can be closer to my family, more present to myself, a calmer person if I observe these mitzvot. The mitzvot are there to help us feel and enhance our lives in ways that, maybe we don't even realize we need. And also there's great wisdom in being able to figure out a way to plan in advance, and to make our time together intentional. Shabbat Shalom.